Hello and welcome to the latest Barb briefing. I'm Justin Sampson, Chief Executive, and it's great to see so many people have signed up for today's event. While most of today's session is pre-recorded, we do plan to take questions at the end, so please use the Q&A function to send us your questions. As the UK industry standard for understanding what people watch, Barb provides a universally accepted source of truth that underpins three purposes: accountability for investment in media advertising, accountability for investment in programmes, and independent evaluation of how broadcasters and advertisers fulfil their societal responsibilities as set out in prevailing regulation. Everything we do is designed to support the collective interest of all these participants in the UK television and advertising ecosystem. And as part of an ecosystem, it's critical Barb continues to evolve. Our innovation roadmap is designed to ensure we deliver comprehensive, trusted insight into what people watch. And we've been making great progress in recent years. We've gone beyond linear services to deliver comparable, like-for-like data for all the major online streaming services. We've reinforced the strength of the panel that is at the heart of our people-based data collection. And we continue to integrate large-scale samples of device-based data. And recognising the need for our solutions to align with international expectations for cross-media measurement, we've joined the US-based Media Rating Council. Our audience-centric measurement strategy has put Barb in a world-leading position. We deliver unparalleled insight into how people are watching the wide range of available linear and on-demand services. And we're committed to going further as our data informs the whole of the media measurement loop. This loop shows the virtuous circle of campaign optimisation that all advertisers and media agencies aim for. Our insight into people's viewing behaviour feeds the strategic planning process, while our campaign reporting tools, Advanced Campaign Hub and C-Flight, support campaign implementation and delivery reporting. And our campaign exposure metrics are a critical input into determining outcomes and effectiveness. Today, we'll bring to life how our innovation programme is enhancing how you can use our data at each stage of this process to help you make better business decisions. Let's start with viewer insights. So over to you, Doug.
Thanks, Justin. Hello, everyone. I'm Doug Whelpdale, Head of Insight at Barb. 5 minutes to cover all of the insight Barb can deliver is too short. So rather than speaking very quickly, I'm going to focus on 3 questions I'm often asked. How have Barb data moved beyond the TV set? What can we demonstrate beyond linear for the streaming services, especially their ad tiers? And what do we know about YouTube? So let's take a look at the answers. The programme most watched on devices other than TV sets so far this year was Love Island All Stars. 19 episodes drew audiences of more than 500,000 to ITVX or the STV player away from the TV. The episode, which aired on February 3rd, captured a non-TV set audience of 610,000 as Chugs and Sammy entered the villa while Ron, sadly, left alone. As we can see, almost half of that viewing was via smartphones. An audience of 1.6 million also watched on TV sets. We could go further, comparing viewing on and away from the TV set by age, demographic, the presence of children in the home, or by using the recently added Barb Extended Audiences classifications from Kantar's TGI, or those from IPA touchpoints that are fused with Barb data. But in the interest of time, we'll move on to streamers. Adolescence from Netflix has been one of the most watched shows of 2025. Episode 1 drew a TV set audience of 6.5 million over 7 days, and more than doubled that to 13.2 million over 28 days. To the question on ad tiers, we can split these figures to understand how much of the audience watched via ad-supported subscriptions. Here we can see that for episode 1, around a fifth of the audience watched with ads. Our final question then leads us to YouTube. Since November 2021, we've reported a service-level measurement of YouTube use within private residences. This gives independent insight into the service based on the viewing of real people from our high-quality, nationally representative panel of UK homes. We can see things like the shape of YouTube viewing across the day. For TV companies and streamers, we see a familiar pattern with a clear evening peak. If we add in YouTube, we can see that it's different. Viewing is steadier throughout the day. If we focus solely on YouTube, we can see that viewing picks up from around 3 p.m. when kids come home from school. Indeed, if we focus on 4 to 15-year-olds, we can see that jump even more starkly. I should note that the scale is different for the chart focusing on kids viewing here. Our younger viewers represented 24% of time with YouTube in April, which is significantly ahead of the 15% of the population they account for, demonstrating what an important audience kids are to YouTube. Returning to the overall picture, we can also see how viewer behaviour has changed in terms of the screen people are choosing to watch YouTube on. Smartphones and TV sets are the most used devices for watching YouTube at home, but TV sets accounted for the majority of viewing time from November 2023, and that gap has widened. TV sets accounted for 54% more viewing time than smartphones in April this year. Again, we can go further and cut YouTube viewing by different audience classifications, but this leaves a big unanswered question. What is the actual content that people are watching? We already report TV companies' content made available via YouTube. We could see, for instance, that 18% of Sky News' TV set audience for Donald Trump's inauguration watched via YouTube. This viewing is often at a relatively low scale though, while overall viewing to YouTube is significant, representing 9.5% of total identified viewing on TV sets in April. That figure extends to 33.1% for children. To answer this question more thoroughly, we conducted a proof of concept test with Kantar Media at the end of last year. Happily, that test was successful, and I'm now going to hand you over to our COO, Caroline Baxter, to talk to you about how we plan to measure YouTube content on TV sets.
Thanks, Doug. As you say, I'm going to talk about our landmark initiative to expand our measurement of the YouTube content people watch on TV sets. As you heard just now, Barb has reported how people use a TV set to watch content on YouTube that's distributed by TV companies since 2021. This new extension will make Barb the first TV joint industry currency in the world to incorporate viewing to YouTube channels. Our new data on what people watch on YouTube will meet several needs across our industry. They will be welcomed by advertisers and agencies looking for insight into the most watched editorial environments on YouTube, by programme makers to inform the commissioning process, and by those working in industry regulation who want an independent view of what audience are watching on the world's biggest video sharing service. Having reviewed businesses with expertise to help us choose the channels, we decided to work with CViews, an independent business that specialises in planning advertising campaigns on YouTube. With their input, we have selected 200 of the most watched YouTube channels in the UK. While volumes of viewing is the primary consideration for selecting channels, there are other considerations. Kantar Media, our audience measurement provider, will employ the same independent measurement method it uses to identify other TV viewing across the linear channels and the on-demand streamers, namely Audio Matching Content Recognition, ACR. As ACR uses audio alone, for practical reasons we have had to consider some exclusions and limitations. These exclusions include YouTube Shorts, live streaming, music karaoke channels, as well as channels that only show clips and/or highlights with no unique commentary. And to ensure we are reporting a cross-section of channels that generate audience in Barb's representative panel of UK homes, we have had to put a cap on certain overrepresented genres. The final point to make about the selection is the objective categorisation CViews applies to the nature of the content that's produced for channels. All the 200 channels that we will measure fall into one or more of these 5 categories. Created for TV, content professionally produced for TV. Created by media, content professionally produced by reputable media companies. Created by icons, content professionally produced by a person widely admired, especially for having great influence or significance in a particular sphere. Created like TV, content professionally produced for YouTube in a familiar TV format, and high-value creators, high-quality, professionally produced channels and shows that have amassed huge, loyal and deeply engaged audiences. We're not going to share the full list of 200 channels today, but I can give you a flavour of what to expect. I'm sure it's no surprise to anyone that even with the limited number shown on screen here, these examples cover a wide variety of interests and topics. We have kids content such as Baby Shark and Nick Jr., sports like football and wrestling, politics here and abroad, news, entertainment, and specific individuals and groups of people who have amassed a large following on YouTube. We're really excited to be able to facilitate an objective assessment of UK viewers' affinity for the most popular YouTube content on TV sets that can be compared directly with other TV set viewing. I look forward to sharing more at the end of July when we will have the first set of data available to subscribers. Now I'm going to hand over to Jim Jarrett, our Head of Research Operations, to talk to you about overnight commercial spot ratings.
Thanks very much, Caroline, and good morning, everyone. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest in seeing what people are watching on YouTube. Personally, I can't wait to see how many other people share my strictly weekend interest in the county cricket highlights on the ECB's YouTube channel. So next for me is to address a long-held question from our friends at agencies, advertisers and commercial broadcasters. Namely, why do we have to wait 8 days to understand how our campaigns are performing? With the launch of overnight commercial TV audience reporting in beta from April, that's no longer the case. And from our discussions with advertisers and agencies, we know that this is valued, as it means that advertisers can see how their brands campaigns that are launching today are performing tomorrow, rather than waiting until next week, as was previously the case. What's made this possible is a unique collaboration between Barb, Clearcast, AdSignal and Kantar. I haven't got time to go into the detail of how it's done, but briefly it takes advantage of Clearcast's comprehensive library of the UK's TV commercials, and it combines this with AdSignal's amazing Assure technology to generate daily logs of the ads that run across more than 150 commercial channels, collectively worth more than 98% of linear commercial impact. The commercial audiences published to Barb clients the next morning can be accessed via the Barb API or through licensed Barb Data Processing Bureau. While this is great, I should stress that the overnight commercial log is interim. The official Barb estimates published 8 days after transmission replace these using logs provided by broadcasters. These are comprehensive and include additional information from broadcasters that can't be generated overnight. For instance, whether a targeted ad substitution is possible via AdSmart or another service. So while the overnight log is reasonably accurate, the log published 8 days after transmission remains the official source of commercial audiences. The accuracy of the overnight commercial log has increased since it was launched and will continue to develop it. Aligned to this is the need for the commercial metadata that Clearcast publishes to be available at the same time as the overnight log from Barb. This is important because it enables Barb users to see what brand, advertiser and media buying agency is for any commercial. So I'm really pleased to confirm that this will be available from Q3 at the same time as the overnight commercial log. This will complete the loop in daily commercial audience reporting. If you'd like to know more about this, please get in touch or use the Q&A at the end of this session to ask any questions. And if you take nothing else from this section, just remember this. 1. Barb is now reporting interim commercial audiences to commercial spots overnight. And 2, the official audiences continue to be published 8 days after transmission. With your feedback, we will continue to improve our commercial audience reporting. And this naturally leads me to introduce Luca Vanini, our Head of Campaign Audiences, who's going to use his tele-shopping spot to talk to you about what to look forward to from our new campaign reporting interface.
Thanks, Jim. We've heard how Barb audience data is uniquely used at every stage of the media measurement loop. In particular, we have 2 solutions that support buyers and sellers with campaign implementation and delivery reporting across both linear channels and VOD services. Pre-campaign analysis is available through Advanced Campaign Hub. This tool combines Barb panel data with first-party data, while census-level impressions are supplied directly by the participating VOD services. Post-campaign evaluation is provided by CFlight, the world's first joint industry system for reporting performance across linear and VOD services. It enables advertisers to assess campaign results for the most widely used target audiences. As part of our ongoing innovation, we're bringing these 2 tools together in a new analytics system that will offer a single point of access for forecasting and reporting campaign performance. We have appointed RSMB to build a modern web-based interface where Barb clients can access and export data from both Advanced Campaign Hub and CFlight. Users will be able to run standalone and customized reports with advanced data visualization features. The system will also support automated report requests via API for integration with proprietary tools. RSMB, as the architect of the methodologies behind both tools, brings deep understanding of our campaign planning and reporting requirements. So by bringing methodology, development and reporting under one roof, we're streamlining our processes and cutting implementation and testing lead times in half, accelerating time to market for future developments. So when will the new system be ready? We're aiming to launch it in January 2026, and in the meantime, all current reporting functionality will remain available via the existing interfaces. Further upgrades to CFlight will roll out with the launch of the new system, with a focus on expanding coverage of VOD services and enhancing reporting capabilities. While CFlight already includes the vast majority of UK broadcaster advertising, we're closing the remaining gaps by adding platforms such as STV Player and TNT Sports. And I can hear you asking, what about the SVOD platforms? Well, thanks to our collaboration with streaming services, we've been able to independently estimate the number of households with up-tier subscription to Disney+, Netflix and Prime Video. And Doug just showed us one example of this earlier. These figures are now part of Barb's daily reporting, and they've also enabled us to include these services in Advanced Campaign Hub for campaign forecasting, alongside linear channels and broadcaster VOD services. We're in advanced conversation with the SVOD services about joining CFlight reporting on the same terms as existing participants. This will provide buyers with a comprehensive view of campaign performance across the AV market, including all services that actively collaborate with Barb. We expect to include at least 2 SVOD services shortly after launch in the first half of 2026. So what about reporting enhancements? Currently, CFlight provides campaign impacts as well as reach and frequency across all the channels and services the campaign run on. To mirror functionality already available in our planning tool, where users can isolate the contribution of each provider, the new system will allow CFlight results to be broken down by sales house. And it will also support analysis of campaigns that run exclusively on VOD services. We're often asked if there are any further developments planned for Advanced Campaign Hub and CFlight beyond the new interface. Well, this new system is a significant step forward in the evolution of our campaign reporting services. And it also gives us a more flexible platform for future innovation, no longer constrained by legacy third-party analytics system. So the answer is yes, we will continue to evolve, ensuring that our campaign exposure metrics remain a vital input into understanding the outcomes and effectiveness of TV advertising. Thank you for listening. And now over to Khaled, who will talk to you about 2 new data initiatives.
Thanks, Luca. The first data initiative I'm going to be talking about is the Barb Data Hub. The Barb Data Hub is a new cloud-based system for storing, processing, and distributing Barb viewing data to the industry. We've appointed MediaSense to set up, develop, and maintain the new data warehouse, and Snowflake as the primary cloud data platform, although in the future we'd like to cater to all major cloud providers. Why are we doing this? It's driven by Barb's data distribution strategy, which seeks to make our data easier to use and access for our clients and for our suppliers. The idea is to give our users more choice on top of what's already in place and to offer more modern ways of interacting with our data. In addition, storing and processing data centrally for onward distribution means less duplication of databases and code bases, more consistency in how our methodologies are applied, and more flexibility for us when working with the best suppliers. Of course, we remain mindful of not restricting how users currently access and use our data. The Barb Data Hub is due to launch later this year. In the first instance, it will be an under-the-bonnet change, where we develop the infrastructure required to store our data and generate what are known as Database 2 files. In the future, users will have options for being able to interact directly and productively with this cloud data warehouse. The other data initiative we're working on is Barb Panel Plus. As you may know, At the core of Barb's measurement of what people watch is a nationally representative panel of 7,000 homes. The panel provides crucial insight into who is watching and how many people are watching. We also collect big data from devices whenever anyone in the UK watches a broadcaster video-on-demand service on PCs, tablets, or smartphones. These data give us more accurate information on the volumes of viewing, what has been watched, for how long, and on which device. This is particularly important for video-on-demand content, where people can watch any program at any time. Since 2018, we have combined these device-based big data with our panel data in a process called Dovetail Fusion to deliver multiple screen viewing figures. The planned next generation of Dovetail Fusion is called Barb Panel Plus. It aims to include more big data sets into our existing broadcaster video-on-demand fusion, particularly those covering linear TV viewing as well as first-party media owner data. Why are we doing this? A key aim is to improve data consistency and reduce zero-rated spots. These are a natural consequence of any sample-based measurement, but are becoming more problematic in a world where viewing is increasingly fragmented across many channels and services. A zero rating is where the panel reports an audience of 0 for a particular minute on a particular channel. The audience may in fact be 0, but because the panel is a limited sample, the true audience could be up to 30,000. Now, data volatility is also a problem, particularly for smaller audiences. When looking at the panel at a very granular level, the measurement can be sensitive to even an individual panelist tuning in and out of a channel. This was a limitation any sample or panel-based measurement had to accept. But with the advent of big data sets, there's an opportunity to fill in the gaps of the panel with big data collected anonymously in a privacy-safe way to better answer the question of how many people were watching a channel in a particular minute. So where are we now with Barb Panel Plus? Firstly, we have commissioned 2 new complementary sources of data: return path data from Sky set-top boxes in 900,000 UK homes, sourced by TVBeat, and return path data from connected TV sets with HBB TV and MHEG software in millions of homes, sourced by TVA. Secondly, we have commissioned 2 prototypes to be developed to cover the methodology and data processing and delivery of Barb Panel Plus, one from Kantar Media and another from RSMB and Sopra Steria. These will harness the new sources of data, along with our existing fusion of panel and device-based data, and we will be taking a decision on the next phase of development at the end of this year. Putting these datasets together in a way that genuinely improves our measurement of what people watch without compromising on the reliability and the flexibility that the industry expects of Barb is a major challenge. But the times are changing, and we must continue to evolve and to adapt. Thank you for listening, and now back to the Barb team live in the studio to answer your questions.